and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show. Give me your picks. Give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly. Because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird. Don't give us a stink eye. We try our best. And we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. It's a brand new week. It's Monday, the 7th of July with Steve Wyss and Lewis Jones. That intro reminds me a bit of a circus, Lewis. I hope have you got a few tricks up your sleeve today?
Very nice. Oh, as you started on fire, Mr. Wyss. I like it. I've got a few angles up my sleeve for today. We can share with the viewers. It's been has the Club World Cup been a circus, Steve? Though that's always the main question. I've been pleasantly surprised, actually. What about yourself?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be quite decent, and anyone who's sort of been having negative comments towards it, I would disagree. I think it's kind of proven its worth, both from a soccer perspective, entertainment perspective, and almost an experimentation perspective as well, with the World Cup coming up next year in America. I think there's a lot of bettors out there. It has been ups and downs as a tournament. Everyone's been caught out somewhere, right? But I think everyone's had some strong moments as well. So the Club World Cup, yeah.
I think from a World Cup perspective next year, I think it's been a real nice sort of platform and to see how it's going to work and maybe to get ahead of where potential value could lie with the kickoff times, etc. What type of games to expect in that slot, I think, from the World Cup next year. That's the way I've been sort of trying to look ahead, really. And I know that the games have been great. I mean, some of the knockout matches have been really top draw, haven't they? And elite level football and really good to bet on, actually, because both teams on both sides of the coin have been going at it, and the form, I think, has held up quite nicely, which is always a good thing for us as punters, isn't it? But yeah, it's entertainment factor's been high, and I also think it's given us a good idea and feel just how the World Cup's going to play out next summer as well. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been something different, and I think sometimes you've got to relish these sort of tournaments that are new, and whether it's good or bad for the players in the long term, obviously that's the big issue, I think, which is going to hold it back and be the controversy. But in terms of an entertainment factor, I've liked it, and I've liked betting on it as well. So it's been all good so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about the World Cup. I've already got a few strategies in place for that with the kickoff times, venues. There's already a couple of sections in the actual draw, which I believe are really nice areas to get put into. Whoever goes into the USA group, I think I might be backing them blind. I'm actually on one team to win the World Cup already. I backed them last summer.
Can I guess? Can I have a guess?
Yeah, go on.
Because I was tempted to jump on. Is it Colombia by any chance?
It is, yes.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Yeah. Even since I've seen the situation with the climate and some of their players who are developing into very, very sort of borderline world class, they're going to be suited to that style of football, I think, in the States. So yeah, I'm with you on Colombia, and maybe that's a tip in itself, I think, to start the show. Colombia to win the World Cup, I definitely would be advising anyone to take a look at those prices.
Yeah, they're 50-1 now to win the World Cup with bettors, and I still think that's a good price. I think anything actually probably 25, 33s and more is worth a go. And if they land a certain section in the draw, even better. But they've certainly got a lot of weapons. One of the best teams in South America. Welcoming everyone. Duncan Evans, great to see you. Ming Chung, and you're right, PSG do keep rolling. Rick Haley, Michael Munch, afternoon to you, and Tristan Wiggle too. Brandon King, Daniel Lacani. We'll talk about Club World Cup in this edition as well. Troy is absolutely right, our producer. I do hope they learn a few lessons from this Club World Cup going into the World Cup. Whether they do or not, I don't know. Things might be set in stone too much. And Pat, we will talk about futures, hedging, and things like that as well. Both Club World Cup semi-finals plus the outright markets in that. We'll discuss that towards the mid and the end of the show. We've got Women's Euros to talk about first. There's a Swedish game on, which I've got a couple of really strong bets on, actually. Kick off in 2 hours. I hope you all had a good weekend. Some notable winners and losers over the weekend. This one stood out to me. $61 was placed on Brian Campbell to win the John Deere Classic Golf at 350 to 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was a price, wasn't he? He was a price.
50 to 1. That's $21,000 return. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And Daniel Brown, 100 to 1 to win the BMW International Open. $30 on that. It's notable winners and losers from the soccer at the weekend. Quite a lot of money on the women's Euro. $13,000 on Switzerland live next goal versus Iceland. That was a winner. Palmeiras Chelsea over 2.5 goals at -120, $12,500. Several winners across the board, Lewis. So let's hope we can continue that going into this week. Ian Messina and Ray Burt, good to see you. But these women's Euros, we've got 2 matches on. The first one kicks off today in about 55 minutes now. Spain women against Belgium women. And then later we've got Portugal women against Italy. Before we talk about the 2 games, let's just move in to the futures market, because Spain are now +120 to win the tournament. Germany now the second favourites at +400. England drifted 7 to 1 shot the defending champions, Lewis, after a disappointing result and performance against France, it must be said. You got 12 to 1 bar that. The host Switzerland 70 to 1. Where's the value in this outright market? I mean, we are going to talk about Spain heavily here. You think they might be quite a class above the rest?
Yeah, I don't think that price is going to last, actually, Steve, that +120 for much longer. And this, I was told by someone that covers the women's international game a few weeks ago that Spain were quite far clear of the rest pre-tournament. And it was only whether England are the only team really that probably could match them on their day. But the fact that England played very, what's the word for? I'd say it was a very stodgy opening performance against France, which they lost 2-1. Something just doesn't seem right with that England camp going into this tournament, I don't think. I mean, they had a couple of high-profile international retirements before the tournament, which maybe just have shaken the camp a little bit unexpectedly. And they don't really seem as cohesive as they once were when they won the tournament on home soil 4 years ago. So that, with the negativity around England, it only further enhances really the chances of Spain. And I do think what I've seen and what I've heard from people that know much more about women's football than I do, that they are just a cut above the rest of these in the outright market. And I think that they absolutely thrashed Portugal in the opening game. And just the way that France and England played against each other the other day, France were the better side, but they didn't look anything like as technical and flashy as Spain and as dangerous as Spain. So I think this Spanish team could be quite streets ahead of them still. And that price at +120 is probably big enough still to get involved if you haven't jumped on this train yet. I think I managed to get on at +300 a few weeks ago, and I'm sitting very happy at the moment. There's just lots of positives about how this Spanish team go about it, really. The very high percentage of their players play for Barcelona, so that's obviously very has the same sort of connections with the Spanish team in terms of style of play. And there's just a huge correlation between sort of Barcelona investing very heavily in the women's team, and therefore the Spanish team is going to benefit alongside that, I think. So the amount of money that's been invested in this team from a grassroots perspective and Barcelona level really stands out to me. And I think they're quite far ahead in terms of development to a lot of these European teams. So yeah, I really like the +120. And the fact if they get through the group, they only got to play a quarterfinal, semi-final, and a final to win the tournament. There's not a last 16 game thrown into the mix. So that just takes another hurdle out of the equation. So, yeah, I actually think this +120 in the outright could be a bet. No, I think it is a bet to jump on at the moment, because I think when the market becomes a little bit more potentially educated about how far maybe England have dropped over the past couple of years, and they're not as well prepared as they once were, I think. I think this Spanish price could be about -200 maybe this time next week. So I think it could be time to jump on this price still at +120. And it's one of the standout prices, Bet Rivers, as well. It's odds on with many firms here in the UK. So that does jump out to me. It's still a price that is backable, Steve.
Yeah, and it could even be the sort of bet that you could take them at +120, and you could even hedge it down if they get significantly shorter. Back to lay, as we say over here. Duncan Evans is saying England definitely a fade for him. I mean, I remember the scenes when they won the last Euros, singing in the press conference and everything and all that. Those days just seem gone with this England team now. There's been a lot of issues behind the scenes, like you said, retirements. All isn't quite right at Mill, as we would say, up here in Yorkshire. But, I mean, that Spanish team, everyone, and there's loads out there who know way more about this tournament than me. I happen to know a lot of people who are watching it. I think half of the reason is there's not a lot else on at this point in time on the soccer world. But everything I keep hearing is that Spain look a bit good. They're the class above. They're the one. And it's kind of, you're adding this in now today. I thought what they did to Portugal was quite brutal, really. I mean, on the same day, the death of Diego Jota, I thought maybe they might go easy on them there. You know what I mean? But it was they were so professional. They were,
They're just machine-like. They are like the great Spanish teams for the men's teams down the years. They sort of remind me of those teams that just keep possession so efficiently, move the ball brilliantly, make you run, tire you out, and they've got the quality in key areas to hurt you as well. And it's full of world-class players through the midfield. There's a woman that I'm tipping up to score any time in the game later, actually, Marina Caldente, I think you pronounce it, Caldente. She's a proper player. She's really great to watch, and she's a cut above a lot of these players at these tournaments. So yeah, when you got players of that sort of ilk throughout your team that play together as well at club level, so they know each other, they know they've got the chemistry already. They don't need to turn it on for the international scene. So I think they've got so much in their favour, and still it does seem short. +120 for an outright pick at this stage of a tournament, but I think if you still think that the price can move the other way and shorten, I think it's worth jumping on this price, I think, Steve.
Well, look at the Conference League this year. Chelsea must have been minus money for half of that tournament and more. So and they ended up cashing. So
please don't remind me. I laid Chelsea in that market throughout there, and I was tempted to hedge at the last minute to try and get out, because they were starting to impress me a little bit more than I did when I put the bet on halfway through the season. But they got the job done. So please, again, old wounds. Please no.
I know we're terrible for that on this show, aren't we, Dan? We do like to reopen from old wounds. But this match today kicks off in 45 minutes at the Stockholm Arena in Thun, which is a beautiful city in Switzerland. Belgium are 40-1 to win this game. The tie's 16-1 with Bet Rivers. Spain are minus 5,000 on the money line, and we've got an over-under goal line at 4.5. Asian handicap on Spain is minus 3.5. How do we make money on this game, Lewis? Minus 3.5 might sound a lot, but is that enough?
Yeah, it's interesting. I stay clear of just the outright markets here, because it's a group game, isn't it? You don't know, once they get 2-3 ahead, are they going to put the queue on the rack? Do they really need the goal difference anymore? Are they going to rest some legs, etc.? So I just decided to concentrate on the anytime goal scorers, and then for this, and Bet Rivers a really good price here on one of the players, as I mentioned, Caldente, plus 145 anytime goal scorer. She was excellent against Portugal. I mean, set up 2 of the goals. She's just one of their sort of key players in that midfield, and she's always getting forward. She's always taking shots. She gives you a good run for your money. And Belgium, they're going to be dominated territorially here, Belgium. So she's going to be getting into good positions. And the reason I think this bet stands out of the prices is because looking at my sort of research here, who's the penalty taker for Spain? It looks like Caldente is the Spanish penalty taker. And this tournament is one of the first, I think, it might be the first in women's football that is using VAR. And when VAR is being used, the percentage chances of penalties being awarded goes up. I think 1 penalty has been awarded so far, but I'd expect that to ramp up a bit during this tournament. And Caldente is on penalties, I think, for Spain. So in a game as one-sided as this, plus 145 anytime, again, Bet Rivers best price out there from what I saw. So I think she's the way to go to play in this game rather than getting involved in any Spain handicap lines or anything. I'll just concentrate my stakes on backing her at plus 145.
Yeah, I mean, this looks really a big price. I mean, I'm amazed as a minus 3.5 goal favourite on the Asian line that only 2 players for Spain are minus money to score any time. You've got Esther Gonzalez here at minus 220, Alexia Putellas at minus 112. I mean, minus 112 is a very acceptable price. And then everyone else is plus money. That just, for me, I just find that really, really strange. But
yeah, you could same game parlay those up if you think you could stick the favourites in with Cantele as well and have a go at doing that, because I think that is the way to play. Sometimes when there is such a short price favourite that are just there's nothing to really milk out in terms of the outright prices, heading towards the anytime goal scorer market and hoping for a barrage of goals in that is, I think, sometimes the way to look at these markets. And I think that price just stands out to me, as many of them do. I think if you like any of the goal scorers there, I think they could give you a great run for your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Mariona Coldente, plus 165 anytime scorer. We think that's a really good value play there in this Spain women match kicking off in 45 minutes time. We've got another match later on, Portugal women against Italy women. Italy are minus 167 on the money line. This match is being played in Geneva. Did a bit of a look at the weather for both games today. Could be a bit of rain around in the evening here in Geneva, which might impact the game. For those who do like to sort of base their bets around weather conditions, then I don't know, maybe the under 2.5 could be worth looking at minus 118. But we don't have a bet on this game. Put in the comments and chat if you are getting involved in Portugal women against Italy women later. The Betting Weekly newsletter is will be one. There should be a newsletter released today, if not already, in your inbox, and then the Insider later on this week on Friday will be an Open Championship special, I do believe. The final golf major of the season is from Royal Portrush next week in Northern Ireland. There's been some great content on the Insider recently, but I say if you want to sign up for free and you've not already, and I mention this on every show, but we get new people coming in every show, do hit that link there that I've put in chat and you can sign up for free. And also in terms of this channel here, we are so close now to 10,000 subscribers. I think we're only 30 or 40 away. So thanks so much for everyone who's been subscribing recently. But anyone new in there, again, we really would appreciate that subscription to try and get to that 10,000 mark as soon as possible. Could we potentially get to 10,000 live on air right now? I think that might be asking too much, Lewis, to be honest. But is Mr. Bossman Nigel Seeley going to do something to celebrate this 10,000? Has he promised to do anything? Is he? I don't know. No, I don't. I've not heard of anything.
Okay,
but Tobias Deppler wants to be number 10K. So
yeah, exactly. Million.
Yeah.
What do they shopping centres, shopping supermarkets? Don't they give the Million Customer Award for free lifetimes shopping? So hey, maybe you can get free lifetime bets with Bet Rivers. You never know.
Duncan Evans mentioned the tennis, and I've got to tip my hat to the great tennis content we've had on this channel over the whole season, but especially over the last week a bit in Wimbledon game bet match, and also the women's show with Rory and Sean's been brilliant. And Betting Weekly Tennis Live is going to be on in about 2 hours' time. Dustin Fox and Mitch Michaels today, checking out the latest bets from Wimbledon and in-play picks. Let's move on. There's not really a lot on the slate today, is there, Lewis, across the world of soccer? But there is a match in Sweden, which Kyle and myself getting stuck in here. We've got Norrkoping against Brommapojkarna here. And I have to say, the odds are completely wrong for this game in both the money line and the goals market. I can't believe what I'm seeing here, actually. I expected Norrköping to be around even money to win. They're actually the underdog somehow at home. I've been working out what on earth is going on here. I even checked to make sure it wasn't being played at a neutral venue. That's how stunned I was by this price. Not that they're that trustworthy, but they have to be a bet on value. Draw no bet on the home team here, IFK Norrköping at minus 105 with Bet Rivers. And it's just one of them bets, Lewis, that you don't even think about sort of the whole. You don't really go into like small details. You look at the price and you think you've got to hit it. Now, if you're on a rating system, you'd be straight on it. I mean, I'm someone who actually doesn't usually bet this way too often. I'm more someone who will go. For me, I've got to be really confident in the outcome of the result. But this is one of them. I would simply have to take it.
I've done lots and lots of shows with you, and I've never seen you this enthusiastic and this not enthusiastic, but just my general gut feeling here that you really, really fancy this bet, and this price is completely wrong. And I always like to think when I'm with fellow analysts, punters, people that know what they're doing in terms of market, etc., you get a vibe about when someone thinks they're onto something there. And I've got that vibe from you here, Steve, that you really like this price, and this one is something that everyone should be listening to. And I have absolutely taken these vibes and will be tailing you with this because, as you say, sometimes the best bets are the ones that you don't need to analyze, and you just know in your gut that you know that price is wrong from your experience doing what you're doing, the amount of football you've watched over the years, how much you know the league. Yeah, gut feel sometimes are the best plays. So I'm completely tailing you with this, Steve. The floor is yours to put some more meat on the bones.
And that's not where it ends either, because the goal line is way off. Under 3.25 has to be a play at -125. I mean, both teams score. Yes, is it -265 here, which is absurd. I mean, if you look, the last 7 Norrkoping games have all gone under 3.5. 10 out of 13 Brommapojkarna fixtures this season gone under 3.5. Okay, average goals per game across the season is 3.5 for Norrkoping, but they started the season with 2-4-3 results. That's going to up the average for everything. And also, the weather forecast here is really bad all day. Rain, heavy rain. This pitch could become a real sort of sponge. And these two sides, they don't want that. They're technical teams. They're actually two teams you wouldn't want to go into battle with, Lewis, to be honest with you. They're not the sort of, these players are not the sort of players who will just knuckle down, grind. In fact, there could be a bit of whining going on, not being happy being out there, not being able to play their sort of normal technical way. Brommapojkarna could play on a plastic pitch, so it won't suit them. Brommapojkarna not a good team, full stop. They've lost, I mean, they won last week at Degerfors 3-0. But Degerfors are probably playing the worst of anyone in this league. Before that, they lost 6 in a row, 5 of them to 0. So they don't normally have a goal threat. I mean, Effie Brilovski's put in here the bookie knows something. It's not random. It is suspicious, Effie. It is. It's one of them where I just expected the general price on Norrkoping to be about even money or +125 tops. And it did open with Bet Rivers, the opening line. I checked back at +132 on the money line. So I've checked Team News. I've checked everything here. And there's nothing really that would warrant them to become the underdog. So
would that be part maybe a syndicate move? Maybe someone's come up with a big play on, say, like a minor league, and has moved the market completely against what you're thinking. Could that explain the move? Because sometimes those big money moves aren't always as tight as maybe what people would think. So maybe that's happened. I'm just trying to think.
It could be something that
the price is so wrong. Yeah.
Unless there's like some mystery virus going underneath behind the scenes, which can sometimes happen, then
maybe some team news will come out before the off where one of the key men as someone's got wind of the key man being out, and that explains the drift. We've seen that happen before, so maybe hold fire until the teams are announced, and if all hunky dory there, then why not?
Yeah, I mean the key man for Norrkoping is the striker Christopher Nyman, who is, I think he's one of the leading scorers in the actual league. He's had 7 goals this season. But I've heard nothing about him that's put him in doubt for this game. So, it's one. Look, Norrkoping, do I trust them? Not overly. They're just sort of a bang average team. They'll probably end up finishing between 9th to 11th in the league. Am I that confident they'll win? I think they've got a good chance, but, I wouldn't hang my life on them. But odds dictate bets sometimes, and it has to be them on the draw no bet, and also the under 3.25 a goal line for me. That's the way it goes sometimes. So that is it for. There's sadly no other. I was hoping Scandinavia would kind of really bring out the card tonight, but only one match. So we
I
got to move.
I wasn't expecting to get so pumped and excited for a Swedish league match, to be honest. But I can't wait to get away from here and try and work out why this price is so wrong and then take advantage of if it is just one of these things where the price is completely wrong and no one's noticed it yet, and we get ahead of some sort of move before kickoff, then let's go for it. But hey, well, no, I'm excited for this one now, Steve. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and as producer Troy said there, who's going to tell this one himself now, Efri Brilovsky absolutely was right about Fluminense against Al Hilal. He's still got a ticket on them. And we are going to be talking about Club World Cup very, very soon. Ian Messina, double chance and under 3.5 goals. Yeah, I thought about that earlier. You could do that. But what I will say, Ian, for me, this is my normal sort of betting. A lot of it is based on confidence. This is one of those where I don't think I could ever stake like huge on this game simply because of who's involved. But if I was like a model system doing it that way in terms of odds and percentages, it would be a really high stake bet if you bet it that way and on ratings and stuff. But anyway, Club World Cup is, of course, at the semi-final stage now. We know there's no match today, but tomorrow and then Wednesday we've got semi-finals. Fluminense, Chelsea, and PSG, Real Madrid. The whole entourage goes to MetLife Stadium in New York City for the final 3 games. But we've got now an outright market that sees PSG at plus 130, Real Madrid at plus 190, Chelsea plus 275, and Fluminense is big as 12-1 to win this tournament. The top goal scorer is interesting. Gonzalo Garcia. What price would he have been pre-tournament? To I don't know, but he's even money now to be the top scorer. Could someone grab a random hat trick now and get themselves in the race? Who knows in that respect? But in terms of the futures and the outrights, Lewis.
Sorry, Steve. There's a player on that list there which could grab a hat trick in the and I'm hoping he does in the semi-finals. So maybe he's a bet, and we'll get onto him shortly when we talk about the PSG Real Madrid game.
There was a comment earlier from Pat Murray, and I'm just going to bring it up now. He asked, 2 comments. So Real Brandon King, is Real Madrid to qualify or even money value at plus money in what could be a coin flip game? And then Pat Murray says, fellas, any advice for holding a PSG and Madrid future? Madrid is his better payout. Do you take more on PSG or do you take Chelsea at plus 280? Well, he's guaranteed a finalist here, Pat Murray. How would you play it from this position, Lewis? Any thoughts?
I'm quite negative on Real Madrid in this game against PSG. So in that case, I would hold the PSG one and fade Madrid at this stage, and probably take a bit of Chelsea maybe to cover yourself. That would be the way I would take it. I would be happy to take on Real Madrid still with this fixture coming up against PSG. I think it's a wrong fixture for them in terms of the type of team that they're going to be playing against. They're going to be still full of beans, and this Real Madrid team have been on the go for so long, and I just think this is probably a step too far for them under this new regime of manager. I think they've been okay at this tournament, but I don't think this is their time. 18 months you probably need for Real Madrid to be at their best, I think, under this manager. And this is the PSG team that are here and now and are around the best around. So I would probably press up on PSG, to be honest. I think in that case, I think they're the team to beat in this deal. I think that outright price is fair enough. And I have sort of changed my tune since the pre-tournament show that we did, just because they've had an easier workload than I imagined they did. I mean, playing those 2 MLS teams back to back where they raced into early leads really helped them, I think, and it's going to sustain their legs for this tournament, which they are taking absolutely seriously. They want to win this, no problem. Well, I just think Real Madrid have got more minutes in the legs. Valverde and Bellingham have been to the well so many times in the past 12 months. And coming up against that PSG team, who look at it again, it's the momentum of that Champions League win still behind them. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get onto it in a minute, but as you can tell, I'm very pro PSG in this fixture coming up.
Joe, I think that's a good bit of advice, actually. I was just going to say to Pat, let it ride as well, but maybe to even it out so you got sort of the same positive on both PSG and Real Madrid might not be a bad idea, because whoever does win out of that match will be the clear favourite to win the final. And just if you manage to end up playing Fluminense, happy days. You could hedge your hearts to 10. You really could. Yeah. I mean, I'm on PSG 8-1. I'm letting it all right now. I'm not hedging in here. No way. I'll go right to the bitter end on this one. But that's me in this. Everyone's on different positions. We might as well talk about that semi-final now. Actually, it is the Sunday.
Yes, go for it.
It's the Sunday match. Wednesday match. This is they're both 3 p.m. Local time. PSG plus 135, a bigger price than they were against Bayern. Ties plus 260. Real Madrid at plus 190. And this PSG team just keep answering any questions that keep going their way in big games. In the last 6 to 8 months. And here's another one. A lot of people saying this is the final, the effective final. I probably wouldn't disagree with that. So, again, plus 135. I think that's a big price on PSG here. Real Madrid, got to respect them. Big name, new manager and all that. But for me, PSG are playing at a different level to them right now.
Oh, absolutely, Steve. Yeah, I think I trust this PSG team in my life at the moment. That turns they've done me over the past sort of 6 months or so. From a betting point of view, absolutely love this team. I love what they're about. It's just they're such a complete team that just functions sort of to the extent that they don't have a weakness in a way. Or maybe you could say that Bayern Munich did create a few half decent chances, but they've got a goalkeeper in Donnarumma who's there to make the saves when he's called upon. So there's not even really a weakness there. And as I mentioned a moment ago, my only real worry with them pre-tournament was the style of play and the high press that they play at in these conditions. Potentially could have made them very tired and very sort of lethargic coming towards the end of the knockout stages. But I think they've had quite an easy run of things, to be honest. As I mentioned, they played the 2 MLS teams, and I thought they looked like the PSG we saw in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Yes, maybe first half Bayern just edged it, but I always thought PSG were just waiting to take advantage of Bayern, and the way they counter-attacked with 9 men and still managed to get a goal was an extraordinary statement to make, and just summed up this team perfectly. I think that the bit of skill from Hakimi on the right to then not only just didn't even think about going to the corner, he just beat 4 men and then set up Dembele to make it 2-0 when really they could have just saw the game out. It was just incredible, and I just think it sums them up. And I think sometimes we don't need to overcomplicate things. And I think when you're getting a price like this at plus 135 being offered up for the best team in the world to win in 90 minutes, I think it's a price you've got to take very, very seriously. And it's the same way of thinking as I took against in the last game when they played Bayern. And I just thought that price was their win price was far too big then. And I'm just going to repeat the same strategy because it sorted me out once again, this PSG team in this situation. So, yeah, I really like PSG to win the game in 90 minutes. As I mentioned a minute ago, Real Madrid, I think this team is a team for sort of 18 months' time, maybe under Alonso, while this PSG team ready to go now. They're fully motivated to win this tournament. It means a lot to the club, to the players, to Enrique to be crowned the world's best team, I think. And, yeah, this workload factor for Madrid, I just think some of these players must be on their last legs coming into these this huge match where you are going to need to be at your best to deal with that midfield and the fullbacks coming at you from all angles. Yeah, Bellingham and Valverde have played a lot of minutes the last 12 months, and there isn't much strength in depth really on that Real Madrid bench at the moment, I don't think, in terms of where probably Xabi Alonso wants them to be. So I think PSG will run all over him in the key moments of the match, and they'll do what they've done to Liverpool. They'll do what they did to Inter Milan. They'll do what they did to Bayern Munich. They'll just beat them, Steve, I think. So, yeah, very pro PSG at the prices here. I think it's one to take very seriously, that 90-minute price plus one. Was it 3.5? Lovely, I think.
Plus 135. Yeah, I mean, I think this might be quite an offensive game as well. There are some defensive suspensions on both sides of the ball. Pacho, Luca Hernandez, and the new man for Real Madrid, Huijsen, are ruled out, and combine that with the fact that Dembele and Mbappe are now back to somewhat serviceable fitness, then I do think there'll be a few goals in this match as well. But last week on Betting Weekly Live, the whole handicapping team, because we had quite a few days preparing it, everyone says get on PSG plus 115 against Bayern, and thankfully they've gone and delivered the win there. And you do worry sometimes, when every man and his dog seemingly has tipped something up, it can feel almost too good to be true. But again, I don't get why it is plus 135 on PSG. It should be probably plus 110. Or even evens, some would have them at in this situation against Real Madrid. What do you make of this top goal scorer situation with Gonzalo Garcia has come out of nowhere? Any idea what he was pre-tournament? Anyone? Was he even listed?
No, I don't think he was listed at all, because as soon as the Mbappe fitness issues did crop up, that was sort of an angle where you think, oh, who's going to replace him as the centre forward for Madrid? But I didn't see this guy breaking his way. I thought they might move Vinicius in there, or Rodrigo would come across, etc., and play as a sort of a false nine, even Bellingham play up there. So the fact this guy's come and done what he's done, it's very impressive, and it shows you that he's going to have a very, very good career playing. And what a place to learn your trade and get all the chances you're going to be supplied in La Liga. So he's going to have, he's going to go well next season, I'd have thought, if he gets the minutes. But the player, actually, I didn't realise that he was this price in the top goal scorer market. But Kvaratskhelia in this game for PSG against Real Madrid, he could score a couple of goals, no problem in this match. I think I really like the price actually BetRivers are offering here on even money for him to score or assist in the match, because I think this player, honestly, reveling, I would say, in these conditions, while others are sort of flagging at the moment. I'm not sure what he's made of or what he has for breakfast or whatever, but if you could bottle it and you could sell it for billions of pounds, because he is some specimen, isn't he? He's a relentless athlete. He looks like someone that could just go and play at Wimbledon and probably get to the semi-finals there, because he's so just mentally and physically just relentless in everything that he does. And he's having a brilliant tournament again. He's so difficult to defend against in 1v1 situations. And you've got to have a look who's marking him in this game for Real Madrid. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold, who hasn't got the Real Madrid move because of his defensive attributes. Very much an attack-minded fullback. His defensive one-on-one play has been spoken about lots and lots of times over the years, and he's nowhere near as bad as what people make him out to be. But when he's up against Kvaratskhelia one-on-one, he's going to have so many issues up against that sort of physicality. And you only have to go back, how many months, Steve? 3-4 months, when PSG played Liverpool in the Champions League knockouts. Looking at Kvaratskelia's data in those two fixtures against Trent will make you very excited, I think, to get on him, to cause him lots of problems in this game. Because across those two games, Kvaratskhelia had 10 shots, 5 on target. He didn't score or assist, but his expected goals return was 0.79. He should have at least got 1 goal in those 2 legs based on the data. Just had some great moments, but just couldn't finish. He gets into so many great positions. He'll skip past Trent, no problem, on the inside. So I think that the way to get him on side here, shots markets were a little bit short for me. So I just thought just keep it a little bit more simple and get him to score or assist. That's a goal involvement. BetRivers offering even money, and I'll definitely be having some of him and the PSG win price. And maybe, Steve, I'll maybe take a bit of that plus 4,000 for him to be top goal scorer. I'm not sure. Has he scored in the tournament yet? I'm just trying to look now.
1 goal. I was looking back. Yeah, he scored 1 goal. So
if he gets 2, if he gets 3 between now and in the final as well, if they get Fluminense in the final, he could easily rack up a couple, couldn't he? So Kvaratskhelia for me, goal or assist is a simple play, but why not jump on the jackpot price as well and cheer every time he skips past the flagging Trent in a 1-on-1 situation?
I really do like that angle. I really got to say, I'm excited now.
Here we go. It's a very exciting show.
I am really. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, now the more you mention about it all, I was like, wow, even money to score or assist. And he scored in the Champions League final as well. So we know he does it in big games. And this is a man who could end up, at the end of this season, he could have a Club World Cup winners medal, a Champions League winners medal, a Serie A winners medal.
Of course, yeah.
And the French Liga winners. But I want a French Cup as well. Can't forget that.
Not bad. He's an extraordinary athlete. I love watching him play football. He's such a throwback, isn't he? Sort of like you're watching someone from the 1970s play, just running at players and taking them on and going past them with just sheer physicality and skill. He's a wonderful player to watch, and Trent's not going to see which way he went, I don't think, in those one-on-one battles. So really looking forward to seeing that matchup.
Very looking forward to it as well. Just looking at some of the comments now. Duncan says PSG all the way. Brad Betts, thought good to see you. And then some comments about the Chelsea Fluminense game. Real Brennan King, Chelsea to lift the trophy. Are they worth a bet? Chelsea will have the weather against them, says Brian M. Feels like that's knocking on the door of 100 degrees, isn't it? If it's going to feel like that amount and
point,
high humidity, for sure. I mean, I just can't imagine it. I just can't see Chelsea lifting the Club World Cup. I just can't, Lewis. I just think they are nowhere near the level. They're nowhere near the level of PSG, and then they're not the level of Real Madrid either, even if they were, to make that final. But they are expected to make the final because they're minus 148 to beat Fluminense.
Minus 148 now, are they? Wow.
They're expected to beat the Brazilians. I mean, what have you made of Chelsea at this tournament? What do you make of them overall? I mean, I can't make head or tail of Chelsea at times. I don't deny they are moving in a positive direction overall as a club. And I do think the last round they did get lucky with team news. I'm not going to lie. I think the Palmeiras, they're missing 3 of their 4 starting defenders. That's a huge good thing to overcome for them. And Chelsea, got the job done. Would you back them at minus 148 in 90 minutes here?
Oh, I think they'll get through, but not because of me being overly positive on Chelsea. I just think maybe this might be the end of the road. I think for the Brazilian side, I think Fluminense, they've been brilliant, but I think they've defied the metrics so far. And if you take their win against Ulsan out of the equation, who were probably the second worst team at the tournament, then they've created just 0.7 worth of expected goals per 90 in their other 4 games. And they lost the XG battle against Inter and Al Hilal. I thought they were so lucky to get through against Inter, actually. I don't know how Inter didn't score in those final sort of 10 minutes or so to force extra time. So I would be very pro Chelsea in this matchup, because I just think a third game in how many days as well. There's a very aging team, isn't it? I mean, Thiago Silva's somehow going to have to ice himself up everywhere to get back out there, and the goalkeeper especially. I know mentally it must be going to be tough on a 6-year-old is he, the goalkeeper? They're just a very aging team, aren't they? And I've just got doubts whether they can go again against the Chelsea team. You mentioned the Palmeiras team news, but I thought Chelsea were quite impressive without Caicedo actually to get the job done. I was really keen to see how they coped in that environment without him, because I think he's probably becoming one of the best holding midfielders around, really, probably in world football now, Caicedo. So the fact they got the job done without him, another positive for Maresca, I think. And I think we're on the same sort of vibes about Chelsea, me and you. I've been very negative towards them and how I thought they were going to fade away in most competitions, especially in the top 4 race and the Conference League towards the end of the season. But they have been getting it done. And they're a young team as well, and they're only going to learn from these experiences. Very strong in the running, weren't they, in the Premier League, winning 5 of their last 6 games to get top 4, and went to Forest on the final day and won 1-0, which is a very sort of pressurised environment to go, and they just got it done there. Fell behind in the Conference League final, produced the goods, went up against it there to win their first trophy. So, they've showed signs of coming back from sticky situations even in this tournament. They were against Benfica with the weather break, and then they came and equalised to force extra time. They came back and got the job done in extra time there. So maybe I need to sort of start changing my tune here on Chelsea a little bit to give them a bit more respect at the fact that they are winning games when perhaps they're not playing as well as they can do, which bodes well for when they do start turning it on. Maybe this team can go quite far. So I think the prices are right. I think probably Chelsea are a little bit too short, but I think they'll qualify. So it's a very tough betting market to get involved with. I do have a props bet though, Steve, if we want to go down that avenue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Who are you looking at in the props market?
Yeah, it's Mark Cucurella. I know this is a player that's been on a lot of people's radars over the past 6 months for shots and shots on target, just because of the positional freedom that he gets for Chelsea when they play when they switch to a sort of a back 3, when the right back goes to sort of the third centre back, and Cucurella is from left back for Chelsea. It's just allowed to go and really create havoc wherever he wants to go. When Chelsea have the ball on the right-hand side. And you'll notice every time they build down the right, Cucurella almost is playing as a second striker when the ball comes into the box. And that's absolutely shown in his data over the past 6 months or so. The shots averages are absolutely ridiculous for a left-back. And even though the prices have caught up a little bit, I don't think teams have really worked him out of this tournament. Where they haven't really maybe had a chance to look at Chelsea in depth in terms of their tactical analysis. Because the last 2 games, he's had 4 shots and 3 of them on target. And he's plus 245 here for a shot on target, Cucurella. And he's getting into some great positions, as I mentioned. And just allows him to get forward and get shots away. And I think that plus 2.45 for a shot on target in this game where Chelsea are going to be dominating territory. They are going to be forcing Fluminense back, who like to play in a low block. Cucurella surely is going to get a lot of license to go and join in and create overloads and get into those dangerous areas. So I really like the shot on target price. Well, that was fair enough for a game of this nature where Chelsea are going to be dominating. Also, you might as well have a go on the goal scorer prices as well. I mean, plus 1,400 to score first and plus 650 any time. Chelsea odds on to qualify, aren't they? So against a team where they could be in for a couple of goals. Scored 5 Premier League goals since December, Cucurella, by getting to these positions. So, yeah, I think he's probably the better way to play this market, I think, rather than getting involved in any pro-Chelsea angles just on the way the market has moved in their direction. I'm just quite negative against Fluminense. I think this could be the end of the road for them. And a fantastic story, fantastic tournament. They've taken it really seriously. All the Brazilian teams have been fantastic, but this is probably the end of the road for them. But Cucurella, shot on target, plus 2.45, Steve. I think that's the bet to take advantage of with Bet Rivers.
He's a player that I think has massively improved in the last probably 12 months because, honestly, at one point, his defending was worse than his hair, wasn't it? Generally would have, I would have started Sideshow Bob instead of him in his position. But he has really, really improved. And was that game where Palmer missed a penalty? I think it was against someone poor in the Premier League, and he got the winning goal 1-0. It might have been Leicester. And I've noticed that if he gets to a certain stage in the game and they haven't broken the team down, he will pull the trigger rather than be more patient. He'll have a crack. And that could happen here. Fluminense are the sort of team, I do feel like they could hold out a bit of resistance for a while and eventually get broken down. I'm kind of with you. It just feel like it might be the end of the road for them. But Efe Brilovski is sticking with his team here. He's got a ticket on them outright, and he's going in deep. Fluminense, team total over 1.5, draw no bet, draw double chance, and to score in the second half. He's all in.
Wow, he sounds like he's playing with profit, doesn't he? So fair play. You've got to keep it going, I think. One last hurrah, I think, for Efe. But yeah, that's if you made money off these Brazilian teams in this tournament, if that was an angle that you cotted onto early in this tournament, you've done very, very well for yourself. And I know a couple of people that did, and I didn't listen to them, unfortunately. But it's Fluminense. If they get to the
if he gets those picks in,
story,
then fair play. They're really fair play. Brad Betts Footy asks, are Chelsea good? He hasn't seen them dominate a team in a long time. Score, sit back sort of team. I think the problem with Chelsea is that sometimes they have, whenever they do play badly, it's highlighted more than when they play well. They're just one of them teams, but actually they have been kind of improving almost under the radar to a degree. I think they do need to be respected, but they're not at a level of of the really elite teams in Europe. That's what I would say.
It's really interesting, the Chelsea debate, because I think as they spend so much money in the transfer market, they are a very popular team in terms of headlines and people having opinions, etc. So when they, as you say, when anything goes wrong, I do think it's more of a story and people latch onto it more than perhaps they should do. But I think they are, if they take the name away from it and the transfer strategy they've been doing it, if you just look at it from a football perspective, over the past sort of 12 months, they've improved a lot and they're becoming a very together, streetwise team full of undoubted quality. So they are on the right lines, I think. I had my doubts about the manager, but he seemed to have got the group playing for him, and he's quite good at his in-game tactical tweaks.
Very calm, half. Isn't he? I think he's really calm.
He sees a game quite well, so that's gonna stand him in good stead. And winning that trophy, I think, could be good for them in terms of mentality for next season. So, yeah, if they weren't in the Club World Cup, in terms of their workloads, I think that'll affect them at some point next season. Obviously, Champions League, extra games. I think on their day, they'll probably give anyone a game of the top three in the Premier League, I think, next season. I think when they're on it, I think they're a very good team with undoubted quality. And Cole Palmer can win you a game on his own, can't he? So, and it'd be interesting to see who starts up front, actually, Steve, for this game, whether he goes, because Liam Delap's suspended. So does he bring back Nicholas Jackson, who has had his disciplinary issues, to say the least? Or do you give a start to João Pedro, the guy they've signed from Brighton, and play him as sort of like a false nine with Neto, Madueke and Palmer off him? So excited to see how he goes about it. I probably think he's going to play João Pedro. I think they've spent a lot of money on him. They've obviously bought him in to replace Jackson. I think that must be the case. I know he's not an out-and-out number 9, but you can't trust Jackson anymore. Then 2 big games he's been sent off. I know they got away with it in this competition, but to do what he did at Newcastle and then to do what he did when he came on the other day, you can't trust that guy. And his finishing has always been erratic. So it wouldn't surprise if they tried to move him on.
I do. I think they will, because they can't, because of his massive contract, they can't just say goodbye and all that.
Yeah.
They'll probably make life a little bit difficult for him, try and get some interest from somewhere, get a bit of money back for him, because you're right, I don't think they can really trust him in the big moments, and they've been working to replace that. And fair play to them for that. It's all about squad building the right way. 88% of the money is on Chelsea for this game, 81% of the tickets, nearly 80% of the money on the over-under is on the over. I actually quite like under for this game, to be honest. But that does, the stage of the tournament now where the goals have been racking up, I think squads are a bit tired, really, and making some mistakes a little bit at the back, stuff like that. I
would prefer the underline there as well, I think, because I think Fluminense could make it a very fiddly, difficult, long fixture potentially for Chelsea. But I think if Chelsea get ahead, it's the attacking metrics that Fluminense. I know Levi Colwill's suspended, and the goalkeeper for Chelsea would not convince me whatsoever. Still, Sanchez. So there's obviously a chance that they might need one only shot on target to score a goal. But just what they produced in this tournament, metrics-wise, attacking-wise, they've been very, very clinical, and they'll probably need to create a little bit more to challenge Chelsea. I think so. Yeah, I'd like if I was going to lean one way on the under over, it definitely be the unders. I think.
One thing I do know is that one of our new additions to the show, Nathan Joys, does have a pick on the newsletter, which is still not released today yet in your inbox. Do sign up for free, and you can get a pick from one of a South American expert. I know what the pick is. I'm not going to reveal it. I've also got a pick in that PSG against Real Madrid game. And there is some tennis selections as well. And the Insider, of course, on Friday. Don't miss that. Open Championship preview is going to be in that. And final reminder, do hit the like button. Do hit the subscribe button for this channel. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. Notable live streams today. Not a lot on offer, but we've got 2 Brasileiro Serie B games, 3 Liga Professional Bolivia matches, Lewis, to float your boat, and you can watch that Swedish fixture, Norrkoping against Brommapojkarna.
That's the one. That's the only one I'm interested in. Steve.
That's the one. You can watch that live on Bet Rivers. All the Bet Rivers app in an hour and 10 minutes time. Thank you so much, everyone who joined live or on demand today. There's also a notable house special in the baseball. Any 2 of Shohei Ohtani. I always pronounce him wrong. Bryce Harper and Mike Trout to hit a home run plus 695. Any 2 of those 3 to hit a home run house special plus 695. Lewis, it was a great pleasure as ever to pick your brains. Enjoyed it very much. Good luck with all those plays. Good luck to everyone today. That Women's Euro match kicks off in 7 minutes time. Just remind us of that goal scorer who you've got.
Oh yes,
in that
Marina Caldente anytime with Bet Rivers plus 145. Should be very one-way traffic for Spain. Think she's on penalties. Threat from open play as well. Big price.
And just there was someone else actually, the favourite in that market, Esther Gonzalez. Brian M in the chat said back her to score 2 or more goals. That's at plus 205 with Bet Rivers. Any time goal scorer, just for 1 goal, she's minus 215. But 2 or more goals at plus 205. Remember, gamble responsibly, everyone. I'm back on live tomorrow with Will White. So we're going to pick his brains about the Club World Cup. In an hour's time, we've got Betting Weekly Tennis Live. That's Mitch Michaels, Justin Fox today. And, of course, we've got Betting Weekly Hardball and Fast Break to continue the day. Take care, everyone. See you next time on Betting Weekly Live. Goodbye.